Let me go ahead and play for you his announcement that he posted on Twitter.
When I ran for mayor, I said I was going to tax the rich. Well, today, we're taxing the rich. I'm thrilled to announce we've secured a pied-à-terre tax, the first in New York's history. This is an annual fee on luxury properties worth more than $5 million, whose owners do not live full-time in the city. Like for this penthouse, which hedge fund CEO Ken Griffin bought for $238 million. This pied-à-terre tax is specifically designed for the richest of the rich, those who store their wealth in New York City real estate, but who don't actually live here. But even so, they're able to reap the huge financial rewards of owning property in, dare I say, the greatest city in the world. And most of the time, these units are sitting empty, since again, they don't actually live here. This is a fundamentally unfair system that hurts working New Yorkers. Now, it's coming to an end. This tax will raise at least $500 million directly for the city. It'll help fund things like free childcare, cleaner streets, and safer neighborhoods. As mayor, I believe everyone has a role to play in contributing to our city, and some a little bit more than others. Happy Tax Day, New York.
So good. Everything about that was just music to my ears, including the Succession style music that was in there.
That was beautiful. 13,000 homes will be affected by that. An extraordinarily tiny slice of New York. Yes, this is redistribution. The richest of the rich will pay a little bit more to help other people. And what they're doing in owning these second homes and benefiting from the New York real estate market is manipulating the market. It's a tax haven. They are not participating in the local economy. So the conservative critics are like, well, they're job creators because they go to restaurants and they hire carpenters and they hire house managers. And no, they don't live there. This is just a way to make money, just an investment. Like they have a Picasso on the wall. They have, 100,000 shares of Google. They have, a $5 million house on Park Avenue that they know is rising in value, and they're not paying taxes on that.
Yeah, they can visit and have fun when they feel like it.
Yeah.
But they can still do that. They just have to pay a little bit more in taxes to support the city.
And while they are bringing in, this tax is bringing in $500 million, and they could have jacked it up a little bit more. They're complaining about Zohran wants to spend $30 million on a grocery store to make sure that working class New Yorkers can get food at an affordable price.
Yeah.
Freaking out about $30 million. But he just brought $500 million into the coffers.
And there's a few things here. First of all, Ben Shapiro is crashing out over this. Let me go ahead and read what he tweeted. He said, in response to that particular video, he said, this smarmy Marxist doesn't see taxes primarily as a way to provide necessary public services. He sees them as revenge. He celebrates the confiscation of wealth he did nothing to earn. This is pure class envy, and it's hideous. And I will just say directly that I support taxing the rich, yes, as a way to provide goods and services for the broader public. I also support it simply to love as an end in and of itself. Because if you have people who are so wildly wealthy, I mean, there should not be billionaires, right? Like, I just don't think, I think that, I do not think that democracy and billionaires can really live together. I think those two things are completely inconsistent. And we've seen that with the way that Elon Musk came in and, bought the election for Trump. We've seen that in, the influence of the Israel lobby and many other lobbies beside. We see the way that it completely undercuts true small d democracy. So yes, I am happy to say that I'm delighted to see rich people tax more simply as an end in and of itself. And you want to call it revenge? Sure, fine, whatever.
Wait, what was the first line of Ben's thing?
This smarmy Marxist doesn't see taxes primarily as a way to provide necessary public services. But here's the thing, too. Go ahead.
But he does. He is using taxes as a way to provide public services.
Well, and here's the thing, and that's the thing, is Ben just opposes taxing the rich no matter what you're going to use the money for. And so even though you're right, Zohran has a clear program. People could recite it verbatim, during his campaign. So the money is going to something very specific, but he just ignores that. And no, it's class envy. I mean, just classic right-wing talking points.
Yeah, it's weird how we're just mad at the rich. Like we wouldn't have a reason to be mad at the rich because they have manipulated the system to become wealthy and they are hoarding wealth and not sharing it. I mean, it's Shapiro is an interesting person to bring up. I mean, it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah, well, his fortunes have fallen off in terms of his viewership in another sign of the times. And I think the fact that Hochul felt that she needed to make this deal with Zohran is also very interesting. She's been really kind of a weather vane in terms of the sentiment. I'd say she's been rather savvy. You know, she was someone, she didn't wait for Zohran to get elected to get on board. She saw the way this was going and was like, okay, I need to support him. I'm going to go and do the rally with him. And so she still is this centrist, calculating Dem, but she's recognized that he has a political base that she has to reckon with.
Well, I read that he said to her, if we don't do this multimillionaire tax, then we'll do a middle-class property tax raise. And that will affect your voters. And people will understand you are part of why we are doing this instead of taxing the ultra-wealthy. And that will affect you. And as we said before, politicians will never do anything that might affect their electoral future. So thinking,
very smart from him.
You're going to raise taxes on my middle-class voters? No, fine, let's do it your way.
Very savvy. Talk a little bit about the grocery stores. There's a new announcement there that I'm reading from the New York Times. Mamdani plans to open city-owned grocery store in East Harlem. He's going to he announced plans for a city-owned grocery store at La Marqueta, moving to deliver on a campaign pledge. And there's another one he said he's going to announce that'll be created first in an existing building in another borough by the end of next year. He wants to have all 5 stores by the end of his term in 2029. And I sort of feel, Tori, like on the campaign trail of his core economic pledges, for some reason, this is the one that people got the most like feelings about. Because I guess it smacked. Go ahead.
Well, this and the free buses, for some reason, the free buses, anytime you bring up a socialist idea, people are like, oh, how do we fund that? And like, oh, but we have to attack Iran. Oh, well, we got plenty of money for that.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure another $200 billion for that. Yeah.
I'm sure you made a whole meal out of Trump saying we can't do childcare because we have to do war.
Yeah.
So anytime you bring up socialist ideas, people freak out and they start throwing bizarre arguments back because I think they have only received a cartoon vision of what socialism is, and they pretend that Sweden does not exist and Finland does not exist. What he wants to do is to have these stores provide, and there's talking about 5 stores over 5 boroughs. This is not going to put Walmart, this is not going to challenge Walmart, this is not going to put a bunch of the bodegas out of business. One of the things Mamdani talks about is one of the big things for bodegas is lottery tickets, and another big thing is cigarettes. He's not selling any of those things. So he's not going to be taking away business from bodegas. He's looking for food deserts, and he's going to say, because you don't have to pay rent, because you don't have to have property taxes, because we're going to subsidize you a little bit, you will be able to take major food staples that every home needs, like bread, milk, rice, basic stuff like that. Those will be at a significant discount. Everything else in the store will be at market prices. So he's not destroying the business for other markets, but when you come out of there, your bill will be lower. You have to be able to make things like food and transport and housing affordable for the people. I mean, this is democratic socialism. Food is a human right, but like, it just sort of makes sense that you can't have a city with massive wealth inequality. The rich are going to need poor people around to do the things that they want to go to a restaurant. There's going to have to be some poor people working in there. Well, how do they live in the city? Well, we have to be able to get them around quickly with dignity and not charge them too much. They have to be able to buy food with dignity that they can afford, right? From places that they deserve to shop, that they like to shop at. When we're talking about healthcare, food, and transit, working class people should have affordable options and not allow the market to make these things so expensive that they can't afford to live in New York.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing too, with like the bus is a bigger program. The grocery stores, as you said, 5 grocery stores over 5 boroughs in a city of how big is New York? I mean, in this gigantic city.
It's huge.
It's a drop in the bucket, right? I mean, I love the program because of the way that it challenges capitalist market-based logic, right? It's a great pilot program to prove that these ideas can be successful. For the people who will get to shop there, that is going to be a wonderful benefit to their life. But I'm not deluding myself that this is like going to, revolutionize food purchasing in the city of New York or anywhere else. But the freak out about this one in particular is like, oh my God, bread lines and communism and the Soviet Union. It's like, relax. The U.S. government runs grocery stores on military bases across the country and around the world. This is really not that big of a deal, guys. I'm glad to see that it's coming to fruition. Like I said, I think it's important. I think it's important ideologically and as a sort of test case, but as like communism has now arrived in New York and there's going to be bread lines and this is the end of civilization. It's just ridiculous stuff. And I think people see that and are like, you all are deranged. Like, why is this such a big deal to you?
No, it is a sort of ridiculous conversation. There's a sort of undercurrent that I hear about, like, government can't do anything. So if we put anything in the hands of government, then it will be bad. I was arguing about this with people online and they were like, well, I wouldn't want the government running my healthcare. Surely you don't think the current private healthcare market is running efficiently or well or for the benefit of American healthcare consumers, right? And the notion, I saw somebody on the news act like the guy at La Marqueta will be the same guy who is behind the MTA glass, who does not care about where you're going. When you ask him, well, how do I get to Harlem? And he doesn't really give a shit. And like, no, like there's going to be a private grocery industry person who is running that. Now, I guess he literally becomes a city worker because he is working for but he is not we're not going to pull somebody out of the ombudsman's office to run the grocery.
The DMV is the classic example of like the DMV is running terrible the government bureaucracy.
We're going to have a basic grocery store where some things that people need will be less. And because we are holding the line on certain prices, that will make other stores that are privately owned have to compete with the government on prices. That will not destroy them, but that will keep them honest. And this is just a way that a socialist leader can have some impact on the market, not destroy the private industry, but make life better for the people.
Yeah, and I think that's well said, and I think it's so important because, the knock is often like, oh, you have all these grand ideas, but then, it's a mess when you try to implement them, or socialists don't know how to govern. And he's modeled himself after the sewer socialists, where it's like, no, the bottom line is, do we deliver for people? And so far, I just could not be more impressed with the way that he comports himself. And it's obviously he's being watched. Like, to say he's under a microscope is, I mean, crazy. It doesn't even begin to describe the level of scrutiny of this man and his life and his wife and her social media posts from when she was 15 years old and all of that. And so far, in spite of that, he really has delivered.
I think that socialism is scary to people partly because capitalism has insisted on it seeming scary to people. And that where socialism has been tried in other places, capitalists have purposefully attacked the system, not verbally, but like economically, to make sure that it does not work. So then people can go, oh, socialism doesn't work. You don't want to argue in favor of capitalism when a tiny number of people inherited most of the wealth of the country and the vast majority of the country is in poverty and will never get out. We're not saying that system is working, right? So, if we gave socialist ideas an actual chance, let people get to have free buses, let them have some cheap grocery stores, right? Let them have healthcare for free. That would make a massive difference. And we would still have an amazing private capitalist market in this country, but we have to take care of the poorest people as far as the things that people need to get through the day. I know it's your show, but I want to be like, see, and that transitions perfectly into the DoorDash grandma.